What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today's video, taking a look at a Halloween Cup team that I went very positive with here. Overall, this team did pretty well. Went on a 7-3 run, getting my new season highs. Y'all know I've been out for the last couple of weeks, been out of the country, and then I was sick for a week, so I didn't get to play a whole lot, so I'm still playing catch-up a bit, but this team did very well on the first day of the Halloween Cup. And I know that we normally jump straight into the battles, but I just want to throw something out here. You know, I'm a dad of 3. I have a wife, and they're all currently living out away from me. Unfortunately, last night, some things happened over at their place of living, and I have to get them out of a very toxic and very just bad living environment. So I've set up a GoFundMe. I'm not one to normally do things like this, and I'm not going to continue to harp on it. But if anybody is able to share or contribute, my family and I would hugely appreciate anything at all, just to be able to get them out of that situation and get my family back with me under the same roof. We were going to try to do it at the end of the summer of next year, but unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to have the liberty of waiting that long. So that being said, out of the way, thank you for staying with me that long if you have. Let's get into these games here with this Ariados on the lead versus an Azumarill. Dream League, you love to see it. Any Ariados into Azumarill, it's great. Now, first game here, I make a pretty huge mistake, and normally you'd be like, you know, why is this a mistake? You brought Azumarill into a Runerigus. This, to me, after I brought in my Azumarill, I thought this was a Golurk, and because it's not a Golurk, I'm almost confident that the opponent has a Golurk in the back. And so for that single reason, them having a shield advantage and the fact that they have a Golurk in the back, it just already seems like a difficult thing. Now, what I could do here, and what I really should have done, was I should have either swapped out into my Greninja. Now probably go swap into the Ariados to draw out the Golurk. I think that probably would have been the right play here. So this is me making a mistake, right? Playing the old alignment game, thinking I could get around it. In hindsight, though, I'm kind of seeing ways that I could have played this differently. But anyway, the Runerigus is such a weird thing that you don't normally expect, that it feels like that's really the only thing that it could be, is a bait out for a Golurk in the back, right? So that's kind of what I'm expecting here, and I'm hoping that I can tailor my end game around it. And I think that at this point, I've thought about like 3 different times that, man, I should probably swap out and preserve this Azumarill for something. But there's the Golurk, and I go for the Trailblaze here. And again, me in hindsight, I should be I almost did it again. I say switching or swapping, but I didn't say swipping. We're just gonna call it swipping. I should have swipped into my Greninja a little bit sooner. The opponent does throw the energy, but unfortunately, they're also running Astonish, which I definitely didn't notice until just now. Astonish is going to, I don't think it gets energy nearly as quickly, but it's still going to put a lot of pressure on me to shield here, because this could be a dynamic punch. They bait me with the Shadow Punch, and the only thing I needed to do was not let them catch, and I waited just a second, but unfortunately, my brain did not register the fact that there was a switch happening, and I just threw my Night Slash. I lose the game. This was a very winnable game. Boom! Taken out by Greninja. Good game to the opponent. Getting into the next battle, we got a battle against my buddy Greg T8262, captain of Rock Paper Slark, and a very, very, very dear friend of mine. And we meet each other on the field of battle, not only once but twice, not in this video, but twice in one evening. And we did get to have some good games with him. So he's got I swear, dude, every Greninja that I saw on the lead with the Ariados baited me, and it drove me mad. Opponent is going to swap into the Clodsire. I'm already down a shield. This is a very tough position to be in, knowing that Greninja is still there, and I am down a shield. Like, being down a shield here is really rough, even though I have a Azumarill and Ariados, a very, very strong core. And I'm going to get switch advantage, but just thinking about how well Greninja can do with that switch, or with the shield advantage that it's got now, it's kind of scary, to be honest. And I don't know what they have in the back. I'm assuming it's probably some sort of poison type, as that's kind of what I have seen so far. They've got Clodsire in the back. It's a Greninja the lead. Usually there's going to be a poison behind this. So I go for 1 Poison Sting on the switch in, and then I switch into my Azumarill, expecting him to go for his Hydro Cannon. Thankfully, we get that call correct. The opponent now comes in with a Drapion, and again, or not even again, this is the first time we've seen it in the video, but I normally assume they have water and dark coverage, but this trainer, the Mad Lad, is running Sludge Bomb. So I'm in shambles at the moment, okay? I feel like that's 2 games now. I feel like I've critically screwed them up, so I'm trying to figure out how to come back from this, all right? The opponent is going to be able to get a move off. I'm thinking, okay, they have a Greninja, they have an Aqua Tail. This is going to hit harder than, I didn't know they had Aqua Tail, right? They just Sludge Bombed me. I thought maybe they'd have Crunch, But not having Crunch was certainly a choice. However, thankfully, not having Crunch is going to allow us to take this game. I'm going to be able to go for this first lunge. I know that the Greninja was energy dry when they swapped out, so they're going to need 5 total water shurikens to be able to take a 2-move, get through this. Oh my goodness, the brain just shut off. 2 moves, they need the Night Slash just to be able to knock me out, but we're going to be able to get the charge attack priority tie on that first move, take them out with the lunge, and that's going to be a very good game, very close game. Good Greg here. Getting into the next battle, we got Ariados on the lead versus Tentacruel. Very awkward lead. Cannot let the backline really see this, as nothing in my backline really appreciates dealing with Tentacruel. So I'm going to go for Ariados here. We're going to be going for the lunge, just trying to lower the attack. I'm thinking maybe if it was a non-Shadow Tentacruel, I'd consider maybe no shielding the Scald. But since it's Shadow, I kind of have to shield anyway. However, I'm going to start going for Trailblazes now. I'm also trying to keep in mind that the opponent may try to swap at some point, maybe. Trying to lure out one of my other waters, maybe. But Trailblaze, going to get this thing low, and I see an opportunity here that I'm very, like, it's a risk, right? I have to hope that their Tentacruel in the lead means that they're not strong to Azumarill or Greninja in the back. So hopefully I'll be able to take this energy and do something with it. Now the opponent has 2 shields. Let's see what they come in with. They're taking their time, which sometimes tells me that they don't know what to come in with. They're going to come in with an Azumarill. If Azumarill is the best answer that this trainer has to Ariados, then we're looking to be in a very good spot. Remember, it's 5 bubbles to the first Ice Beam, and it's 5 to every Ice Beam. So we can go for 1 and then the move, 1 and then the move, and then what we did here is go for 1, 2, 3, 4. That puts us right underneath that 5th bubble. And so we go for the lunge, get the attack drop on the Azumarill. The opponent ends up throwing their energy into my Azumarill. And this is all just playing out almost perfectly here for me. And the opponent going to go for some energy and then concede. Whatever they had in the back must have been weak to Azumarill. So good game. I was kind of half expecting it to be a Mandibuzz, to be honest, but in this next game, we get an Ariados into the Guzzlord. Guzzlord does take super effective from the Bug-type lunge. However, they're going to be able to hit us pretty hard with these Dragon Tails on the way there. So, going to go for this first lunge. Hopefully, they shield. No, they don't even shield. The lunge is going to get them pretty low, and unfortunately, like, I still kind of have to shield here because Ariados... Like, we need to get rid of this Guzzlord so that Greninja can be a little bit freer, right? If I swap in Greninja, we're having a bad time. And I can't bring in my Azumarill here because they very likely have a hard answer to Azumarill in the back. That's going to be Clodsire so far. Now, because I don't want Ariados to get farmed down, and my Ariados, truthfully, isn't going to be able to do a whole lot into this Clodsire, I do decide to swap in my Azumarill here. I probably should have swapped in my Greninja since it is my safe swap. But being down a shield felt kind of awkward, and I wanted to try to utilize the bulk. And I also kind of figured, like, in hindsight, there could have been a Toxapex in the back, and this probably would have been a game-losing situation for me. So definitely would have been better for me in general if I were to just have swapped into the Greninja. It would have been a little bit safer, I think. But we're going to be able to get this Drapion down with a shield here, and I lag a turn. I'm not able to get my lunge off here, which really, really sucks. But I know the opponent just goes for the Aqua Tail here, so I don't need to shield. I'm actually going to store that lunge for later, just in case I need it. Going to come in with the Greninja here, look to start firing off Hydro Cannons. We're in a very good spot here, as this opponent does let this through, which means we'll be able to fully farm them down, and they just decide to concede knowing that the game is likely over, so it's going to be a good game. Well played to them. Excuse me, still got that cough. Get another Guzzlord on the lead. We're going to play it out very much the same, going for that lunge right away. Well, not right away, but on 7. The opponent decides, however, to go for their move right away after 4 Dragon Tails, giving us a free Poison Sting and allowing us not to have to take a 5th Dragon Tail unbuffed, assuming it didn't register right here. So we're going to go for lunge. That's going to do quite a lot of damage. Opponent decides not to shield, and then they switch into a Skeledirge and come in with a Azumarill, and this is, you know, where I kind of wish I had Hydro Pump. But most Skeledirge and most fire users in general will know that we're using the Ice Beam Play Rough combo. Now, you see how much damage that did? I would reckon that I probably live another Shadow Ball here. So, excuse me, that's going to play into my decision-making here. I don't know where that came from. This is going to play into my decision-making. What normally would happen here is my bubble registers. The Shadow Ball would have left me on 1 HP if I was lucky enough. And then the next bubble would have knocked out. However, unfortunately, my Azumarill does not have the HP stat that it probably should to deal with that. If I had a better HP stat, I think that I'd probably live that. So you know, I almost thought about building another Azumarill, but I'm like, I probably shouldn't, but anyway. Opponent makes a very, very nice catch here on their Guzzlord. I need to get rid of this thing anyway, so I'm just going to fully charge this. I don't want to try and like get a farm down or anything. And I try to go for a catch of my own, but unfortunately for me, the opponent does have a move. And I have to respect this Trailblaze. Trailblaze would do quite a bit here. And now I'm going to come back in with my Ariados here, try to neutralize this buff from the Trailblaze, go for a lunge, and then try to see if I can't get to another lunge and force the shield off the opponent here. Unfortunately, they're able to get to a move because to the second move, it is 6 for the crunch. So they're going to be able to take out Ariados, and I need to get to 2 moves here. Do they get to 7 fast moves before I'm able to get to 2? Unfortunately for them, no. Greninja does outpace to 2 Night Slashes. We saw the Poison Jab sneak through before we threw the first one, which means that we can win Charge Attack priority, throw the second Night Slash, and a very close, well-fought game to the opponent. Getting into the next battle here, we got Ariados on the lead versus Morpeko, the new kid on the block, and this thing is honestly terrifying. The amount of damage that Morpeko can do with Aura Wheel is disgusting. My opponent swaps in a Poison Flying type of some sort. It's a Crobat. I haven't seen a Crobat in years at this point, man. Niantic, please make Crobat good again. I miss Crobat. Crobat was fun to play. Gonna go for the swap into the Greninja here, go for 5, and then go for the Hydro Cannon to CMP tie on the Poison Fang from the opponent here, and we are going to be able to take that out, but the opponent still has the Morpeko. This is scary. Now, they do come in and throw right away, telling me that, you know, they can go for the Aura Wheel. Like, there's no reason for me not to. I feel this thing is squishy, and they want to preserve it, so I'm going to go for a cheeky little Night Slash bait here. We do get the shield. That's massive. Now, unfortunately, not able to get to the Hydro Cannon quick enough, and I'm going to let this go at this point. I'm like, all right, you know what? Greninja's done his job. The opponent threw right away, but they threw a Psychic Fangs into my Greninja, and I was not about to shield that. The opponent's bait going to cost them as they're going to either have to get rid of the Morpeko or their shield, and I'm quickly going to swap now into my Ariados and look to try to overfarm here. I can shield one time, but I'm like, this is probably a Psychic Fangs, and I know I live it. We're going to let it go. Opponent now has a Venusaur. And suddenly Azumarill's in the back like, whew, man, dodge that one. We dodged that bullet, sure did. Gonna go for a couple of lunges here. The Venusaur unable to get to a move or is, yeah, they're just not able to get to a move here. Or unwilling to throw it. They need to go for that farm down. We're gonna be able to take it out. But the Morpeko is getting a farm down here. Unfortunately for them, though, they will still need 2 moves to knock out. And Azumarill is gonna be able to get that farm down before they could. Tried to catch on the Greninja, but they conceded. Good game. I still haven't got a Morpeko yet. Game has not given me any. I haven't been getting any of the raid tasks. I didn't get any of it. So we're going to safe switch into the Greninja here on the Ariados. I don't know if they have Stone Edge, and I don't really want to stay around to find out. So I'm going to swap into the Greninja here. And I believe with Greninja safe switch, if you have a 2 Water Shuriken head start, it's 2 or 3, you can flip switch in the 2 shields with Greninja, which is pretty crazy. I would personally prefer to try to go for switch here, only just for the fact that, you know, I would rather have the Clodsire against my Azumarill than my Ariados, especially considering that most of them are running Stone Edge Earthquake and not Sludge Bomb. I've seen 1 Sludge Bomb Clodsire so far, and so far that was it. So we're going to go for a huge overfarm here and look to go for the double Hydro Cannons to see if we can't force the second Protect Shield off the Azumarill. But I don't know that I'm going to even be able to get to another move to knock them out in time. I should have probably been going for maybe Night Slashes here. We're giving myself a little bit more energy. Make a cheeky little swap into the Ariados. The opponent brings in the Greninja that they had stowed away in the back. So playing a similar team to ours, however, they're running the Greninja, or they're running the Clodsire instead of the Ariados. But thankfully for us, we're going to be able to hit off this this farm down. We're going to be able to start throwing some moves into this Clodsire. The opponent maybe brings in the Azumarill. I'm pretty sure the Azumarill does have a move loaded, so I have to be careful of that. Especially knowing that I've still got Greninja with some HP in the back, and I've also got a full HP Azumarill, so I'm looking pretty okay here. Opponent's going to go for their charge move. Now I get to see if they have Stone Edge or not, because this is where they're going to throw it. They do have Stone Edge. Takes out the Ariados. We're going to come in with Greninja, and I'm going to try to catch a move here. but the opponent swaps, and I'm able to react quick enough to catch the move on my own Azumarill. And at this point, this game is over. We have a move on the Greninja. I can fully farm down their Azumarill with my own Azumarill and fire off 2 Ice Beams into this Clodsire. So this game, fortunately for us, is going to be over. I really just needed to make sure that I kept my eye on that switch to make sure that they weren't able to fire off a move. Plus, I mean, I don't even think they had the Play Rough loaded. I think it was an Ice Beam that they threw at the Greninja anyway. But either way, we're going to be able to take this one, thankfully, and that's going to be a good game. Well played to the opponent. Getting into this next game here. Ariados on the lead versus Drapion. Now, not an amazing lead for Ariados, but it's pretty neutral overall. Both of my Pokemon in the back do resist the moveset that the Drapion has as far as its charge moves go. It's just a matter of at what point do I swap here. So because they got the attack drop, I'm going to just go ahead and let this go and immediately switch in my Greninja and see what the opponent decides to do from here. So Greninja's going to come in, start getting to work. The opponent is not swapping out. I over-farmed there thinking that maybe they would swap out and try to catch that Hydro Cannon, but they didn't. And so now I'm like, okay. So I decide now I'm just going to go for a full farm down with the Greninja. Greninja's farm, as any of you probably know, the opponent hasn't swapped into my Greninja yet, meaning they don't have a hard answer to it. They come in with a Galarian Moltres. This is good because now that we've gotten the Galarian Moltres out on the field, I'm going to be able to pretty safely put my Azumarill on this later if I need to. So we're going to go for a Night Slash. The opponent has shields. They may as well use them at some point. We're going to be able to get the Golurk out. The opponent just comes in with a Golurk. So they're now completely weak in the back to the Azumarill. Maybe they were hoping to use Drapion as their Azumarill answer, but without Sludge Bomb, it's really not that effective of one. We are going to be able to just go for an Ice Beam here into this Golurk, but I decide to make a strange play. Like, I'm thinking most of them are running Dynamic Punch. This trainer's running Earth Power. And so I'm going to go for an Ice Beam here, thinking that it was going to be maybe 4 to the Shadow Punch and I could farm down. But I also make that mistake, unfortunately, learning the hard way here. Ariados is going to get the farm down, but because I have a shield, I can simply get to this lunge. So I was in a safe position to win regardless. If I needed to, I could have shielded the Shadow Punch and just farmed down the Golurk, but it's all good. Either way, we get the win here. Well played to the opponent. Getting into this next game, Clodsire on the lead, going to do the same old dance here. We're going to get into the Greninja and go for the safe switch here and see what we can do. And the opponent tries to catch on their own Greninja. And typically speaking, this is not a wise thing to do for most trainers if your best answer is the mirror, if you're trying to win switch advantage. Now, if the opponent's not trying to win switch advantage, then this play is totally okay. But essentially, by swapping in their own Greninja down energy and at shield parity, which basically means we have the same number of shields, essentially, this means that they can never win switch against me unless they boost, and I end up having a problem with that. If they boost, then it's a lot less of a likelihood that I'm going to be able to win switch. I go for Hydro Cannon here because I'm not sure if they're in range of the Night Slash yet. So we're just going to go ahead and get their final shield. And I'm not sure that I can safely get this farm down with my Azumarill here. So I do decide to go ahead and get it, go for switch. And the opponent gets a last-second boost, which also now prevents me from getting to another move against the Clodsire. I think that if I had that HP back, I could have lived the 3 Poison Stings I would have needed to get this this Hydro Cannon off. But, RNG is what it is, you know what I mean? So opponent has their move. They're going to go for the Earthquake. And I don't know why, but for some reason my brain is thinking, if they're going to go for Earthquake, surely that means that they don't have, I don't know why, but I think I end up swapping in my Ariados at some point here for some silly reason. Or I'm thinking of another game, maybe, but I don't know. After you have a long day at work, your brain just gets fried, you know? I come in with the Ariados here for some reason, like thinking for some reason maybe they don't have Stone Edge, which they definitely do. I don't know why. And then the opponent has a Mandibuzz, and unfortunately for me, Azumarill just can't do everything, right? So it just kind of worked out that way. That Azumarill is not going to have enough HP. They're just basically going to be able to get to an Aerial Ace, and they're very, very, very far out of player off range here. So very well played to the opponent. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get together what I needed to get a win here. I think that I definitely had, I might have had a chance, but I genuinely think that at the end game, having Ariados on the Mandibuzz, that probably was a losing game anyway. But we're able to take a 4-1 set to finish off that and get to my new season high of 2666, number of the beast, 666. It's the number of the beast. Anyway, thank you all for hanging out with me for this video. Again, if anybody's able to, do anything with the GoFundMe, it's completely optional. Obviously, I appreciate anybody even just sitting here listening to me ask it. You don't have the ability to contribute. Even if you could share the link, any of that stuff is helpful. Appreciate it very much, you guys. Thank you very much. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.